welcome back to Access Anime. I'm Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of Magi, episode 4. Now, if you remember from last episode, Aladdin, Morgana, and Alibaba have completed the dungeon, but have been transported to 3 separate locations. Now, if you remember, Aladdin, he's in the grassy land, approached by guys on horseback, so we don't know where he's at. Now, however, Alibaba is exactly where the dungeon used to be, with all the gold. So that was kind of nice. Now Morgana appears to be transported right outside where the dungeon used to be, outside of the city. And from that point, we actually know Alibaba has all the gold. So he has all the gold from that dungeon, so that was kind of interesting. But that was last episode, and this is a new chapter, so let's dive right in. Again, I'll keep my comment and my rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right in. Now we open up this episode with Alibaba and his ex-master Boodle. Remember that big chubby guy? Apparently now he works for Alibaba. And Alibaba, I guess he actually asked Boodle, doesn't this bother you that you're serving me now? And I think this guy's lying through his... I think he's just lying, but he says no. Now Alibaba, now this is interesting, he buys the freedom for all the slaves in the city. So that's kind of interesting, which includes Morgana's. And we also see Morgana appear in the opening of this episode, and she comes to thank Alibaba as well as thank Aladdin, but you know, he's not there. But again, I believe she's joining Alibaba now, and they're gonna go find Aladdin. Now it's been 3 days so far, so that's where we're at. Now we're taken to Aladdin. Now we get to know where Aladdin is. We see him waking up in, it looks like a tent or a small little hut per se, and this hut I guess belongs to Baba, which is this older woman. She looks like a shaman. And this gets kind of interesting because she calls him a child of Rukh. I don't really know what a child of Rukh is, but she goes to explain it to Aladdin. And Aladdin's, I guess he's really relaxed around Baba because she's been really nice to him. Now we're taken to a different character, Tayu. And Tayu is, she comes into the tent or the hut and says the scouting party has returned. And then we see a guy on horseback, his name's Dolge. I wanted to call him Dog when I was pronouncing this, but it's D-O-L-G-E, so my bad, it's Dolge. And Dolge, he was the one that actually found Aladdin, and he's part of the Kuga clan. So now we know where Aladdin is, he's with the Kuga clan. Sounds like something from Naruto Shippuden, I know. I want to say Kuga clan, or something along those lines, but it's Kuga clan, K-O-U-G-A, interesting. Now another village has, I guess, raided close by to where this clan is at, so they're on their toes. So there is, I guess, a raiding party of people taking slaves and whatnot, and again, the Kuga clan, they're always scouting ahead to make sure they're not going to be the next victims. Now, what's interesting is, out of nowhere, Yugo appears right out of the flute, raising his arms in celebration with the scouts, and everyone was freaked out. So that was kind of funny. Now we're taken to a small cutscene where we see the Ku army. This is another type of army, because the Kuga clan is just a clan. They're not really much of an army. They're just like a smaller village, where the Ku clan, the Ku army, is like this huge armada. It looks so amazing when we get to see them, but again, it was just a brief little cutscene. We don't really get to know a lot about them, other than they're really close to the Kuga clan. Although I don't believe they're the raiders, so they are definitely not the raiders, but they are an army to be reckoned with. Now we are introduced to a new character in the next scene. Her name's Ren. Now apparently Aladdin was, I guess, hungry. He had some milk from a cow or horse, I forget which, you know, he was having milk from one of the animals, and then he went on to the horseback. I don't know how he ended up on the horse, but the horse went wild, and out of nowhere this woman by the name of Ren saves him. Just saves the runaway horse and Aladdin, and it's kind of interesting. Now we're introduced to her. Her name is, again, Ren. She is the 3rd daughter of the first Ku emperor, and she's basically there for diplomatic talks with the Kuga clan. So that's kind of interesting. So she's a princess, and she just wants to integrate this Kuga clan with the Ku empire, but on equal terms, you know, because they just want to grow their empire where the Kuga clan is small. Be a nice add-on in general. But that doesn't sit well with everyone, and I thought this is weird, but out of nowhere, we have a character by the name of Rosa. He basically pushes Tayo, who is going to give the princess some horse milk or something like that. It was milk in general from one of the animals. And again, Rosen pushes her over and says, "How dare you serve the princess this dirty type of low-level milk?" And that kind of set the bad mood, because you see Dolge basically about to slay Rosa, and then you have another character called Rai kind of block Dolge's sword and says, "I think we're done here." At least that's what the princess says. But just before she leaves, we actually find out a little more about Baba. Now, Baba was that old woman I just recently introduced. Well, she's the granddaughter of the 155th great king of the Kuga clan. So at one point in time, their clan was great, it was big, and they had a king. And that is the great-granddaughter of the 155th king. So that's kind of interesting. But anyways, the princess, she's really nice. She really wants this clan to join her empire. Not to fight, more or less just to be integrated. But again, one of her bodyguards totally blew it, and now she's leaving. Now, Aladdin didn't sit well with him, so he actually sneaks away and visits her. And he tries to see where she's coming from. Now, it's kind of interesting because she didn't see this coming. She took a little defensive position because, well, it's Aladdin. He's on a turban, a flying turban, and she's kind of freaked out. And I'm like, what's the first thing you're going to do when you see someone on a magical device, carpet or whatever, and they're approaching you? Either assume they're going to kill you, or it's an easy way to get someone to join your group, just because it looks like they have power, they're influential. And I thought she was immediately going to ask him to join her group. But that's not what she does right away. She just wanted to talk to him about the Kuga clan and how she wants to, have them integrated and, join their society. And, this really gets to Aladdin. He wants to know more, and he sees all these magical little butterflies, gold butterflies around her. And again, in this series, the gold butterflies represent someone with soul, or with Rukh, I guess is what they're called. It just means they have a lot of soul, a lot of heart, and this was, it kind of got to Aladdin, and he believes her. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to go to Baba, I'm going to go to the group, I'm going to talk to him about this. Because, I believe you, And that was that small little scene. I mean, it was, a little interesting to see him actually go out and do that. But now in the next scene, now this is kind of a little sad. We see the Kuga clan has been raided by, looks like some slave traders, because they definitely are not associated with the Ku clan, the Ku Empire, because they definitely don't dress the same. But anyways, the Kuga clan has been raided by trade slavers, and they've taken Dolge's girl, as well as a majority of the other women, it looks like. And then we have a scene where Baba is telling Dolge not to kill anyone, because if they kill anyone from that slave trader group, it's going to be an all-out war. So he's got to save all these girls without killing anyone. So it was interesting to see how that was going to happen. Now we see Dolge actually catching up with the slave traders, and then we do a small scene where we see one of the slave traders say he's going to use Toya as a breeder. So he's basically going to rape her just to reproduce more slaves, and I thought that was a sickening scene to actually have to watch. But it was short-lived because Dolge does apprehend the slave traders without killing anyone. So that was kind of interesting. And while this is all going on, you see Aladdin talking to Baba about, what's the Magi in general. Just doing a little catch-up, and she tells Aladdin a little story about the Kuga clan. How a Magi basically, I guess, foresaw or told a guy that was entering a dungeon that he'd be like a ruler or whatnot, and that happens to be her great grandfather or whatnot, since he was like, he finished the dungeon and he became a king, and he made the Kuga clan. So now we know about the Kuga clan's past, which I really wasn't that interested to know, because they don't seem like, they're just a rad-tad of little small village. They didn't seem like they were that powerful to begin with, but they were a force to be reckoned with once upon a time ago. But that ends the scene with Aladdin and Baba, but she does point out Aladdin is a part of their family. So again, Baba has accepted Aladdin into their family. So that was kind of interesting. Now again, the Dolge's group comes back with all the freed women and whatnot who were stolen by those slave traders, and they're having a party. And again, Baba is now convinced by what Aladdin has told her about the Ku Empire, so they're gonna join them. Now, just before, I guess they were having this party, and we're in it for about a minute or so, you see Baba walk away. She's gonna relieve herself. I'm guessing either go to the bathroom or just something else. And out of nowhere, she's struck by an arrow, and it looks like she's dead instantly. Now, no one else has noticed yet, but that's where the episode ends. So, I am very shocked right now on how that ended. But again, that's where we end with Magi episode 4. Now, final thoughts. Who struck Baba with an arrow? Was it the Ku Empire? Was it the slave traders? Or is it a third party that we don't know about? We don't know. Now, as far as where Alibaba is, he's going to go find Aladdin with Morgana by his side, I believe, but we don't know where he's at right now. And again, we're no longer in the 3rd day, we're now in the 4th day, and we still don't know where he's at, so that's sad. Now, Hugo, I want to know more about him in general, because we still don't he doesn't have a head yet, he's not talking, so, you know, Aladdin's got all these questions and they're not getting answered by him, so that's kind of a downer. Now, Amon, which was the other Dajin, which was in Alibaba's dagger, that we find out after he completes the dungeon. When do we get to see more of him? Does he have a new form, or does he keep his form? It's just, does Alibaba become his master, friend? We don't know. But that ends it for my final thoughts. Rating wise, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 because there definitely wasn't a lot of battling in my opinion, but my favorite scene was when the Kuga clan was chasing after the slave traders. The music was amazing, and the chase was great to watch. That was the only high point for me to actually see in the actual episode, so I have to give this a 3.5 out of 5. So I'm not going to be, you know, 4.5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 like I usually would. It's got to be a 3.5 out of 5. So final rating, 3.5. But that ends it for my rating. Now, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Magi episode 4. I have one more walkthrough and review I was going to do tonight, but I'm actually going to do that tomorrow. So definitely stay tuned for that. But before I go, I have to say it. Can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.